Hey everyone, Griffin here, and as 2025 starts wrapping up, that means a brand new year is right around the corner. And for Canadian investors, that also means one exciting thing: fresh contribution room is about to open up in your TFSA, the tax-free savings account. That's one of the best tools for building wealth in Canada. So getting right into it, for 2025, the annual contribution limit remained at $7,000. And if you've been eligible since it first launched, the TFSA that is, in 2009, but haven't contributed a dollar to your account yet, well then your total contribution room would now sit at $102,000 as of 2025. Now, looking forward to 2026 in 3 months, there was actually an early update posted online breaking down exactly what the 2026 limit is going to look like. So we know this limit is going to stay at $7,000 once again, which brings the lifetime total up to $109,000. All right, yeah, so the TFSA, or tax-free savings account, is a registered investment account that is created by the Canadian government back in 2009. Its biggest advantage is right in the name, really. It's completely tax-free, allowing your money to grow without the CRA ever taking a cut. Any dividends, interest, or investment gains of any kind that you earn inside a TFSA aren't going to be subject to tax, which makes it very powerful. Now, since it's a government-registered account, though, there are a few eligibility requirements. You need to be a Canadian tax resident, be at least 18 years old, and have a valid SIN. Regardless of if you take advantage of it, though, your contribution room still starts building the moment that you do turn 18. One key thing to remember is that TFSA contributions are going to be made with after-tax dollars, meaning you don't get a tax deduction when you deposit funds into this account, such as with, say, the RRSP and the newer FHSA. But the trade-off is that every dollar that you earn afterwards in that account stays completely sheltered from tax forever. Next, let's go over how TFSA contribution room actually does work. So every eligible Canadian gets a set contribution limit each calendar year. And that room accumulates over time, meaning if you didn't use it in previous years, well, it simply rolls forward. Your total contribution room is therefore made up of 3 parts: unused room from any past years, your new annual limit, as well as any withdrawals that you made in the previous year, which gets then added back the following January. For example, if you've contributed $40,000 since 2009 and your total lifetime limit is $102,000, well, you would still have about $62,000 in available space going into 2026. One important warning to keep in mind, though: if you do overcontribute, the CRA charges a 1% monthly penalty on the excess until you fix it. So always track your own contributions carefully, as the CRA's online record doesn't update in real time. So don't only rely on that alone. Keep your own spreadsheet or notes to avoid any of these costly mistakes. Looking ahead to 2026, the government has already confirmed that the limit will remain at $7,000 once again, as mentioned earlier. This information came to light somewhat early after people on Reddit noticed that the CRA's indexing formula calculated roughly $7,185, which ends up rounding down to the nearest 500. That's how that works. All that to say, though, that the official cap will then stay at $7,000. So add that to 2025's total, and by 26, your lifetime TFSA room would reach $109,000 if you turned 18 before the account was introduced in 2009. Now, since TFSA contribution limits are indexed to inflation, we can expect that number to rise again in future years, but for now, both 2025 and 2026 holding steady at $7,000 per year. Next, let's talk about who the TFSA is best for, because while it is an amazing account, there are a few key pros as well as cons to keep in mind. If you're new to investing, the TFSA is usually going to be the best place to start. Unlike an RRSP, you don't need earned income to contribute, and you can withdraw money anytime tax-free, which makes it incredibly flexible for both short as well as long-term financial goals. You can also use it for almost anything, as an emergency fund, to save for a big purchase, or to invest in stocks and ETFs to grow your wealth over time, potentially towards retirement. Now, generally, it makes sense to maximize your TFSA before contributing to an RRSP, especially if you are younger or in a lower tax bracket. And if you're saving towards a home, it also pairs perfectly with the FHSA, or First Home Savings Account, which gives you tax-deductible contributions as well as tax-free withdrawals when you buy your first home. Many Canadians use these accounts together, putting home savings in the FHSA and using the TFSA for everything else. And the best part here is that they're incredibly easy to open, so anyone can really get started. When it comes to using your TFSA for US stocks, just remember that US dividend-paying stocks still get hit with a 15% withholding tax. This is automatic, you don't have to do anything, but it does slightly reduce your dividend return. So personally, in my TFSA, I lean more towards higher growth US tech instead of dividends. Think Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, the companies driving global innovation, or even through an ETF like QQQ that engulfs all of those positions. And to put this into perspective, $10,000 invested 10 years ago into the QQQ ETF that tracks the NASDAQ 100 would be worth over $58,000 today. And inside a TFSA, that growth is completely tax-free. The moomoo app makes researching higher growth ETFs and individual stocks extremely easy. You can browse investment themes, check analyst ratings, and earnings in one place, and even use moomoo AI to break things down quickly so you can make smarter decisions faster. Next, let's talk about how to go about opening a TFSA, because like I mentioned, it is extremely easy to do. You can open one through almost any bank, credit union, or online platform, even apps like moomoo. All you need is your SIN and a few minutes to fill out a quick online application. From there, you can transfer money from your checking account directly into the TFSA, either as a lump sum or through automatic monthly deposits. It's super straightforward, and anyone who qualifies can set one up in a matter of minutes. You can also transfer an existing TFSA to a different provider if you want, but make sure to request a direct in-kind transfer through your new institution instead of withdrawing and then redepositing yourself into your TFSA. If you try to move it manually in this manner, you could accidentally use up your contribution room for the year. So always let the financial institution handle that transfer directly. Next, let's talk about what you can actually hold inside a TFSA, because it's far more flexible than most people even realize. Essentially, you can invest in stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, GICs, and even just hold cash in it. Certain cryptocurrency ETFs that trade on major exchanges are also allowed here, though you can't hold crypto directly inside a TFSA. Many investors use their TFSA though for broad market ETFs to get instant diversification, for example, combining both Canadian, US, and international ETFs to spread out risk. Or if you prefer something a bit simpler, you can even go with an all-in-one ETF portfolio that automatically balances your investments based on your risk level. Something, for example, like Vanguard's VGROW ETF. One thing to remember though, if you do invest in US dividend-paying stocks or ETFs, those dividends are going to be subject to a 15% withholding tax that is taken before the dividends hit your account, even inside a TFSA. Though honestly, this really shouldn't be a deterrent to hold US stocks in your TFSA. From here, what about withdrawals? Because this is one of the best parts of the TFSA. So you can take money out anytime for any reason, completely tax-free. Whether it's for an emergency, a big purchase, or just because you want to, it is totally up to you. And here's the key thing to remember though, any amount that you withdraw gets added back to your contribution room the following January. Granted that you are in the positive and not withdrawing a total loss, which would do the opposite effect. So if you took out, for example, $5,000 in 2025, that same $5,000 actually gets added back in 2026 on top of your new $7,000 annual limit. One of the biggest advantages of using moomoo in Canada is that there are no account fees and no currency conversion fees either. Most platforms charge around 1.5% every single time you convert Canadian dollars to US dollars, or make you use Norbert's Gambit, which is slow and can be somewhat annoying. But with moomoo, you can swap between Canadian and US dollars instantly with zero conversion cost. So more of your money actually gets invested. Opening a TFSA takes just a few minutes, and if you use my link down below, you can also unlock welcome rewards. For example, deposit $100 and get a $50 stock cash coupon, or deposit $3,000 to get $500. That is a crazy sign up bonus. So if you want to check it out, the link is down below in this video's description and pinned comment. Let's now go over a few crucial mistakes to avoid with your TFSA. There are two major ones that can lead to penalty taxes. First, again, over contributing. Like I mentioned earlier, if you even go slightly over your limit, the CRA charges a 1% monthly penalty on that extra amount until it's fixed. So always double check your total before adding large deposits in. Second, don't withdraw and redeposit within the same year. Doing that can also trigger penalties, since the withdrawn amount only gets added back to your room the following January. On top of that, remember that you must be a Canadian resident to contribute, and if you move abroad and become a non-resident, any new contributions that you make will be hit with that same 1% monthly penalty, because you do not gain contribution room when you're a non-resident. Lastly, avoid trading too aggressively inside your TFSA. If the CRA decides that you're day trading or running it like a business, your profits could be taxed as such. So keep it simple, use your TFSA for long-term passive investing, not hyper-active trades, though there isn't much evidence showing that swing trading casually leads to the CRA cracking down on your account. Ultimately though, it is your account and it's up to you to decide what you want to invest in. Finally, let's go over a few quick examples to really solidify how the TFSA works. Like I mentioned earlier, many of you watching are either turning 18 soon, or maybe you're a new resident of Canada. So let's break a couple things down. If you turned 18 in 2025, your very first contribution room would be $7,000, and then add to that another $7,000 in 2026, you'd have $14,000 total. Example 2, if you became a permanent resident in 2023 and haven't opened a TFSA yet, by the start of 2026, you'll have $27,500 of available room, since 2023's limit was only $6,500, but then $7,000 for both 2024, 2025, and moving into 2026. And finally, if you've been eligible since 2009, but you've never contributed, you'd have $109,000 in room by 2026. Whether you're using your TFSA for long-term investing, short-term saving, or both though, the key is to start early, because even small consistent contributions can compound into something massive over time. If you're just getting started with a TFSA, I'd recommend going one step further and learning how to actually navigate the stock market confidently by taking my 100% free course over on Skillshare. I made this course a couple years ago. It has over 7 hours worth of free content. Like I said, if you're on a 1-month free trial using the link down below in this video's description, it has over 3,000 students and great reviews. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks a lot for watching. If you found this helpful, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and as always, I will see you in the next one.